Hello everyone. I've recently picked up some harder to find games over the last week or so. Some of them aren't really worth a lot of money or anything, they're just uncommon ones. But I will save the most interesting one for last, I guess. I'm going to start off though with the creepiest one, probably. I did a trade with Aaron from Retro Liberty. I'm going to trade him like 7 common NES titles because he's trying to, build up his NES collection for a copy of Strider 2 on the PlayStation. Now, he sent it along with a little note, and before I read it, me and Aaron always send really gross, creepy messages back and forth. But this is the note. Dear Scott, please stop ignoring my calls. The baby looks just like you. I know you're the father. Love, Aaron, Retro Liberty. I don't know if that means that me and Aaron got it on at one time, or with his wife. Either way, I'm sorry, I guess. I am not paying for the baby's food or anything, so you get to take care of that one. This next one was sort of an odd pickup. This last weekend, when me and Joey were cleaning up, packing up the booth, he said, "Hey, did you see that I put a Neo Geo Pocket game out?" And I was like, "No." Well, Joey's been going through a bunch of old boxes he had in storage and finding, random things. And he found a copy of Dark Arms Beast Buster 1999. And I had never heard of the game or played it. And I looked up a video online just to see, what type of game it was. I was thinking it's going to be a fighter. And it's an action RPG. And the little video clip I pulled up was a dude going through a graveyard with a gun, shooting zombies. I was like, oh, okay, well, this is totally, up my alley. It's not expensive by any means, $5 or $10 or so, but, we don't come across Neo Geo Pocket games at the flea markets practically ever, so I grabbed that from Joey. This one's kind of cool because this is my first complete-in-box Virtual Boy game. It is Red Alarm, and it was basically brand new. It still had the shrink wrap over it, except it had been cut open at the top so you can get into the game, but it is 100% complete, and the game still has a little plastic baggie over it. I own the manual for Jack Bros, and I own the manual for Vertical Force, but if I was to try to buy the box for Jack Bros, that would probably cost me $50 or $70 at least, I'm guessing. So that was a cool little find. I just got that off of eBay for a good price. And then also out at the flea market this past weekend, I showed this one on the video, but it was kind of quick. And I guess I didn't, make it clear that I was keeping it for my collection. Ninja Tarro on the Game Boy, and sort of just an odd game. Joey thought he had a copy of it, at the booth, when it was Josh, Aaron's brother, who brought this up, and he didn't have a copy, or we couldn't find it, but it's sort of weirdly priced. I mean, a copy sold for $6, and then 2 other copies have sold recently on eBay for $25, $20. So it's just an uncommon Game Boy game to find. And then this came as a recommendation from Metal Jesus Rocks. I think I got it for $7, and that was with shipping. It's Swagman on the PlayStation. Sort of a very unique looking game. He showed it in his hidden gems on the PlayStation. I'd never heard of it before. And in the clips that he was showing, there was it's a little adventure game with these 2 kids, and there's objects that are being lifted up into the air as you're running around, a kitchen or a living room or something. And one of them was pool cues that came up into the air and then shot down at the character. And just the way they did the graphics and stuff were pretty damn cool for a PlayStation game. Next, I have 2 Sega Saturn games. Both of these, I'm getting so close to completing my Sega Saturn and Sega CD collection. These were just online purchase pickups. I got The Legend of Oasis, and this one is in pretty damn good shape. And then I also picked up Earthworm Jim 2. I've been looking for a copy of this that wasn't $30 or $40 for quite a while. And the one I purchased, this one right here, has writing in the back of the manual, and it sucks because it was like new condition in the manual. He actually rated every piece, of the game, the case, the manual, the game, or whatever, and he gave the manual a 9.5, but in the notes section someone had written in their own little doodles and notes, so that kind of sucks. I'll probably end up getting another copy with a better, manual, and then selling, one of the copies of Earthworm Jim 2. So keep an eye out soon if you're possibly wanting a copy of Earthworm Jim 2. And then, let's see, the final, rare pickup I got. Actually, you know what? I'll put that off real quick. I did get 2 new games this week, which very well could become rare or expensive at some time. Hakuoki, Warriors of the Shinsengumi. Actually, it's Shinsengumi, not Gami. This is the sequel, more or less, to a loving date sim game that came out on the PSP a while back. And I did not pick that one up because it was like a female dating sim, sort of. And there really wasn't any actual, gameplay. It was all, strictly story-based. And I just couldn't get into that myself. But this one is, an action, hack-and-slash type of game. So I went ahead and grabbed that one. I think this is the only copy they sent to the store. I pre-ordered it. And I also picked up Etrian Odyssey 4, Legends of the Titan. The first 3 were on the original DS. This is the first one in 3D. And this came with a soundtrack and a really small art book. But challenging, really fun RPGs, so I'm looking forward to getting around to playing this at some point. And finally, the last thing, which was definitely the biggest purchase. This game, Joey had actually found a copy of on an episode of Video Game Sellers out at the market, and the copy he found was in pretty rough shape, but even a rough shape copy of this game at that time was going for $60, $80 or so, but he ended up selling it to one of our regulars at the booth for a really good price. I think he sold it for $40. It is Metal Warriors, and this game has now, since Joey had found that copy, has been climbing in price. There are people asking in the $180 price range, so it's sneaking up to $200, but it's easily selling in that $150, $160 price range. This is a pretty damn near perfect copy. It has one little small ding right there, but this was a hard one to finally get that that I wasn't paying at the top dollar. This is a LucasArts game, actually, and it's a mech game, if you can't tell by the friggin' mech on the cover. And one of the cool parts that I like about it is that you can actually get out of the mech as your little human character and run around on the level, and he's so frickin' small and his legs move all goofy. It's just kind of funny to look at, but so that is probably the biggest purchase I've done since now Wild Guns on the Super Nintendo. So all my really, really big purchases recently have come from it seems the Super Nintendo, but glad to finally have that one. And that is it. Like I said, some of these were a little more pricey, but most of them were just kind of uncommon ones that, we don't come across at the market or garage sale or anything like that. So, hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up the video and leave some comments and subscribe and do a little dance and make some love. Get down tonight. Peace.